Skibbies. This is Grey Dancer coming to you live from Madison, Wisconsin, the rope bondage capital of the world, for another edition of the occasional Ropecast. I have been very bad about being a regular contributor. It's funny, I read lots of interesting articles about how to be a good social media and content provider, and they all emphasize one thing: consistency. Make sure your listeners know exactly when you're going to have something come out so that you can always have it out there and always produce and make sure it's there. Then again, there's the old idea of intermittent reward where, you get people hooked on something because they never know when they're going to get it. You certainly didn't know that Labor Day weekend would suddenly have another edition of the Ropecast. I didn't even know that until I was sitting here going, hey, I should do that. No. I have my microphone all set up. I should do another Ropecast. So I apologize for my long-standing absence for the month of August. It was a very busy month, and also for half of July, let's be fair. And it's not for lack of loving you all, dear listeners, and it's not for lack of loving the sponsors. See how I slipped that in there? In fact, I'm really excited that Twisted Monk, who is one of the sponsors, he has been putting out some fantastic colors of the month. And you can always get a hold of his various things by going to twistedmonk.greatanswer.com. Or I think actually it's rope.greatanswer.com. Probably both work by now. But yeah, rope.greatanswer.com will put you through there. And if you go through there, you get the great rope. And then I get things like a gift card. And in fact, there is a chance for you to win a gift card to Twisted Monk in a little bit when you hear me come back when I announce the giveaway. But I want to thank him for sponsoring this podcast, even though it has been intermittent, and hopefully later on in this month when I see him in Baltimore, and you'll find out why soon, because you could see him too. I'm hoping he won't kick my ass for not being consistent on the Ropecast. In the meantime, I also have to thank my other sponsor, Lee Allure, leeallure.com, leeallure.com, or spiraleisoaps.com, because along with erotic hypnosis, she also makes hypnotically wonderful soap. I keep telling her she should do some kind of an induction where you're, soaping your body, and the more soap covers your body, the deeper you go into trance. I think there was some concern there would be danger of falling in the tub or things like that. But she is not only a good friend, but also a sponsor of the Ropecast. And I actually meet with her once a week. We kind of kick each other's butts on our various projects. And yes, I will make sure that the next time we meet, I ask her to remind me to do another Ropecast. It's not like we haven't been involved in rope, though. We've been doing lots of things. Among other things, I recently took a little trip down to Austin. Now, I wasn't going down to Austin for what you'd think, which is just to scout out the hotel that we're having at Ropecraft in October, which, by the way, has a lot of history to it. It's where the same hotel and convention center where the original Austin Ropecraft Symposium happened. And that was a seminal conference in kind of cementing what became the rope community that we now know and, air quotes, love. It is a great hotel. It's really nice. The convention center is fantastic. It's so nice. Oh my God, to have a building that is all ours. Inside of the convention center, we have 2 floors. We have a lot of space. We have a great little back porch where we can go out and have cigars or just kind of hang out. We are looking for sponsors for things like Midnight Snack. We're going to have ASL interpreters at this one. And we are foregoing the idea of having a printed program. We'll have daily sheets. If you want to have a piece of paper with a schedule each day, we'll have a daily sheet put out. But we're going to be using the Yap application for your various mobile devices, and also having an audio version of the schedule each day for people that don't like reading schedules but would rather hear them. So guess what is producing that? That's right, it's being produced in association with Ropecast. So there's a lot of fun stuff happening there. But that wasn't why I was going out there. This is where I start to get a little bit of the excuses as to why I haven't been around. I am, in case you didn't hear the announcements way back before, I am not doing traveling Grews anymore. I am only doing Grews now in Madison, which is a big change. I've been traveling and doing Grews for 11 years. And we have had many, many, many. You want to see all the classes that happened at Grews? Go to classlist.grew.space, and you can see the master class list with all of the different classes that were proposed at various Grews. Thousands of them, okay? Lots and lots of things happened. But while the Grews themselves are good standalone self-supporting events, they are not self-supporting and gray-supporting events. And so I had to stop, and I have to find a different way to make a living. And that's what I've been busy doing. I have been in combination with, doing bits and pieces of contract work, video editing, sound editing, podcast production, and things like that. I have also been taking classes, and that was why I was in Austin. I was learning a form of graphic facilitation and graphic recording called Bicablo, and it was a great workshop and gave me a good stepping stone to the next step in things. And I've been practicing hand lettering and writing and doing all kinds of visual facilitations. If you see at a big conference somebody up on the side with a big, huge wall of paper, and they're writing and drawing, and it's just making incredible little sort of a visual representation of what's happening at the conference, that's what I'm heading towards. So if that's the kind of thing you need for your conference, hit me up. The Kansas City Kink and Leather Unconference, kcklu.com, has engaged me to come and do that. And the reason they're doing an unconference is, well, first of all, they ain't getting a Grew. Grews are only in Madison, Wisconsin now. But they wanted to do an open space. And the organizer, Ozma, who you may have heard me mention her once or twice before in collaboration with various other things, Ozma is the leader of that, and she wanted to learn better on how to do an open space. And so she and another person from down there signed up for my openspace.coach session, a summer session. We had, I think, a cohort of 8 people. There's only 10 slots available in the class because I want them to be available. And what it is it's a 4-week live webinar course on all of how to do open space events for alternative communities. And so it's not just how to do an open space, because, hey, you can find that out via Wikipedia or free stuff online, but it's particularly all of the things that I've learned over the past 11 years of doing them for alternative communities, not just Grews, but also Rope and Space. I've done a few things for individual events like Test Fest, and I've also done things for outside groups, particularly in San Francisco in the This Is What I Want festival we did in Open Space. So those are the kinds of things that I've been up to and doing, and it's been keeping me very, very busy. And I'm not saying I'm stopping doing the Ropecast. Of course not. Hey, I'm doing one right now. What I'm saying is that it's the idea of a regular schedule is not very very much happening right now. I'm working to get into more of a regular schedule and finally getting to the point. And once I get a regular schedule in my life, I can start having a regular schedule for the Ropecast. But I'm not going to make any promises right now. I will be doing Ropecast every chance I get. And you can help. You can help me by letting me know who I should find at the Columbus Space Rope Thing. Okay, I'm joking. It's not actually called the Columbus Space Rope Thing. It's just what I've been calling it because it's actually called the Ace Rope Weekend. ACE stands for AISCORG, which I'm guessing stands for Adventures in Sexuality Columbus, Ohio Rope Group Events. So it's like a recursive acronym, and that just gets a little confusing to me, especially since ACE has another connotation. But hey, it makes sense. If we can have a rope event that's called Fire, we could have another rope event called ACE, even though neither one has really anything to do with fire or asexuality in particular, although certainly wonderful asexual people come to these events. So The thing you can do is you can just ask me who you want me to interview if you are out there. Naya and I will be out there teaching 2 classes, the Eroticism of Pain in Japanese-style rope bondage, which is a very fun and owie class. And also, Naya will be teaching Bottoming for the Changing Body, and I'll be her sort of reference top during that class. And but there's going to be a lot of other great people there. Rigger Otis and Angel Knight is going to be there. Sandwan Fea is going to be there. Of course, Barrack and Sheba will be there. And Stranger Friend will be coming down there. They're actually riding with us. So I might be able to get a good podcast interview in with them as well. They're really cool people. And I'm saying that not just because I want them to be kind of blushing and uncomfortable, because they always are when I tell people how great they are, but I've done sketch notes for their classes before and hung out with them a few times, and yeah, good people. So that we're going to be there, and then after that, right after that, we'll be going out to Pittsburgh, staying out in Pittsburgh for the week with my friend Twisted View, and then heading out the following weekend for the Baltimore Rope Dojo. So I can maybe get some interviews in with Midori or Lolita Wolf or Delano Bound or Michelle Serchuk for photography. Boy, that would be great. And of course, Twisted Monk will be out there as well. And this interesting thing about the dojo, by the way, I want to say, I get the feeling some people sometimes, they think that the rope dojo is, hey, the rope dojo is just, it's for beginners, it's take you from 0 to where you can, just about suspend somebody. In fact, it used to go all the way to suspension. But we've actually deepened the curriculum since then. And that's the thing. When I first took the rope dojo, I thought I had good rope skills already. I mean, I think this was in 2014, 15, something like that. I was a teacher. I thought I'm not going to learn anything new here. So first of all, yes, I did learn things new because Midori teaches harnesses that are particular to her. The lightning harness is not usually used by other in the traditional Japanese thing. It's a really fucking useful harness though, and it has a lot of variations that can do amazing things. And that's just one of many harnesses. It's not about that though, okay? One of the things that comes in is she will say, I'm going to teach you at the beginning of the class how to coil your rope. And I don't care if you coil your rope other ways, other places. While you're in my dojo, you will coil the rope this way. And you may think, wow, that's a asshole dictator move. I mean, come on, what's going on here? Why can't I coil my rope my own way? The answer is you absolutely can coil your rope your own way when you're in your own space. But having the discipline and taking yourself out of your comfort zone and coiling the rope in her way for that period of time helps increase your flexibility to change things and to be able to have more control. If you are used to coiling your rope one way, that means you are locked into that way of coiling your rope. And you may sit there and be like, well, a rope coiling thing is the best way ever. Well, that's very good for you. I'm glad that you have invented that way to do that. There may actually be other ways that are good, and unless you're able to actually explore them, you won't be able to know that. So that's just an example of this idea of taking you out of your comfort zone. You have speed drills. Okay, you don't usually have speed drills in other classes and other intensives. You have pop quizzes. You also get much more into things like negotiation and into figuring out how to communicate better with your partner, figuring out how to integrate things like takedowns and dance and things like stretching for warm-up with your partner. These are things that are not usually taught in the step-by-step procedural classes. And can I just kind of point out that maybe we should have been, for a while now, focusing less on the step-by-step procedurals and maybe a little more on ideas like how to negotiate, how to communicate clearly, and how to create consent between partners. Maybe, just maybe, we could have spent a little more time on that, and maybe the world would be a different place. But that kind of leads me to what I really want to talk about today. By the way, you can always go to ropedojo.com to find out more about that. And the ACE weekend is mainly I see it online. I'm not sure I see the Eventbrite link. I will look again. Yep, that's right. I am actually recording me clicking through things because, hey, why not? That's just the way it works. And yes, there's the Eventbrite link. The Eventbrite link, wow, it is a really complicated link. I will say, let's see, if you go to FetLife and you go to the group that is the AIS-CORG events-ACE, just search for that group, search for AIS-CORG, and it probably has nothing to do with cute little dogs either. Feel free to find the schedule there. All right. So another reason, again, this is me being brutally honest here. Another reason I haven't done the Ropecast for a while is because it's getting hard. I'm so busy working on events and working on the behind the scenes thing and signing contracts. We have that hotel, by the way, in Lisle. We signed hotel contracts through 2020. Okay, so I've been busy working on Ropecraft. We sold 20 tickets yesterday to Ropecraft Austin. And that's because both me and Ozma are working really, really hard on that. Now, Ozma went off to Fire with her husband Frank, and they had a great time. Oh my God, they had so much fun. It was neat to talk to her afterwards and see her face light up and say, oh my God, people do these events and sometimes they don't work at them and they're actually fun. Like, this is why it helps to be reminded why we do this. This is something that I've needed some help with. I pretty much only go to events where I am working on things. And, as you know, if you're lucky as a presenter, if you break even, if you cover costs, much less actually try and make any money. That's why I sell things like DVDs and do other workshops and things like that. But it's all work. It becomes work. And while I do find the work rewarding and I love seeing people reach out and do things and use the things that they learn and that kind of thing, there comes a point when, I'll just put it this way. I have Tumblr feed. I have Tumblr porn all over the place. And I discovered that when I was seeing rope images, instead of having the hot and sexy, ooh, yeah, let's do that, I would either be critiquing the rope techniques, or it would just remind me of one of the many, many, many political, emotional, situations in the rope community lately. Lately being the last few years. And I realized that I've divorced the hot and sexy from rope, and now it's all in the social, philosophical principle kind of area. And it's hard. It's hard to rediscover your relationship to your kink when you sort of lose it. I talked about this at the Montreal Gru. It was funny. It was the one class I did. I said, how do you rediscover your relationship to kink? And it was a great discussion. It was very interesting. A lot of other people had things to say. Unfortunately, they did not solve my problem. Damn it! Why didn't you solve my problem? And I realized that the problem is not the fault of the kink community. The kink community is exactly what it is, and it's what it's always been. And the rope is the same thing. It's within me. And after all, let's face it, this podcast is about me, right? And I also I seem to have a kind of there's a joke about gay leathermen that, what happens if 6 gay leathermen get stuck in an elevator together? And the answer is, well, a hot and sweaty contest might break out. So, for example, I mentioned I'm doing visual training. I thought, hey, I need to do more life drawing, sketching, right? So I look around in Madison. There's a life drawing class going on, and I could have paid $20 and gone and done my life drawing there. Did I do that? No. I decided, hey, let's have an event. An event broke out. Let's have a new thing. So every fourth Monday in Madison, Wisconsin, you have Madison Wicked Lines, not to be confused with any of the Portland Wicked Lines events. And Madison Wicked Lines is, simply put, a life drawing class with a kinky twist to it. So we've had several different models. Stranger Friend, who I mentioned, was a model. Gray Spit. You can look up Gray Spit. No relation to me. Was our model last time, along with Spike. And instead of just sketching, I am sketching there, and that's why I did it. But I'm sketching along with a bunch of other people, and we're paying our models, and we're running music and paying the venue. It's at Freya Project, by the way, which is a great space in Madison. Really, I joke about Madison being the rope bondage capital of the world. Madison has one of the best play spaces that is out there. I mean, it's right up there with like the Columbus space, with several of the spaces that they've had in San Francisco or in Baltimore, Maryland. And considering that a lot of the spaces out in the coasts are not working out so well, they've had to close them down or for various reasons. You should think about coming out to Madison. It's worth it once in a while. All right. And it's pretty comparable to Chicago too. So you kind of do a Midwest tour of Columbus space and Chicago spaces, and then up to Madison, because you have to make your pilgrimage to the rope bondage capital of the world, right? So I'm trying to find that rediscovered relationship to kink. And the sex educator part of me says I shouldn't force it, because I do kinky shit, okay? When Naya comes home, she strips naked, and we have our 24-hour total power exchange relationship, and, we do cigar play a lot, and, when I am, playing with my other partners, we definitely do things that qualify under the realm of kink. Hell, according to some articles, recent article in Vice about the top 5 kinks, anything that's non-monogamy is kinky. So, hey, we're kinky just by, being with each other. But I'm still trying to find how to rekindle the relationship to rope. And I think part of it is, the key to it is to not necessarily focus on creating events or performing and teaching and stuff like that. And when you think about it, that's kind of been sort of this stock path. You start doing rope, you then start, somebody says, hey, can you show me how to do that? Then more people say that, and then suddenly you're teaching. And then you teach for a while, and you finally go to enough events, and you're like, you know what? I could do better than this with an event. And so then you're teaching, you're organizing events, or you're organizing a group, you're doing that kind of thing. And that's kind of just been the path. That's been and people will come in new and look at it and say, wow, I see Foco's, the badass bottom, and is doing all this fantastic teaching and stuff like that. I want to be like her. And so they start trying to find other riggers to tie them, and they start trying to learn how to teach classes and things like that, because that's where they see the person being respected. Now, I'm not saying Foco is not deserving of respect. Definitely is. Foco really want to get you out to Ropecraft one of these days to teach. This would be really awesome, and frankly, I've seen them teach at NARIX and other things. By the way, congratulations, new NARIX board. Saw your announcement. You should go on FetLife and take a look at NARIX's announcements. It's a cool board. I think they're going to do amazing things. Can't wait to see what happens. That little side thing done. I'm thinking that part of my rediscovery of kink is going to be trying to find places that are not in that path. Okay, so the sketching is part of it. I really feel fulfilled when I'm sketching a kinky scene and when I'm learning and working on my own art. Obviously, I enjoy podcasting. I've been doing this now for this podcast, I've been doing it for 25 minutes. This has been great. I love talking to you people. It's really fun. So to some extent, this job of mine is to be a rope historian. Side note, I heard someone recently say, and I won't say who it was, that they started in their bondage journey in 2010 when there was a vast wasteland of misinformation about Japanese rope bondage. And I confess I was a little bit, because, I was pretty well established by 2010, as so were other people, and I don't remember it being a wasteland of anything. And I even went back and looked, and hey, you know what? 2009, Ropecast had the first U.S. interview with a little known bondage rigger from Japan named Arasuo Go. That was helped out by the Devil Mask Society, and particularly Fabiola and Demon Six, to make sure that happened, and Mari also for translation. So, Arasuo Go, I think he's pretty legit as far as Japanese rigging go. Also, another person you may have heard of, Kagura, had an interview with us in 2009. I'm not sure that counts as a wasteland, okay? I think that maybe counts as first direct sources, first-hand accounts, live interviews in their own words. Not really a wasteland. We also did things like interview Master K a couple of times. We interviewed Midori. We also, though, spent a lot of time interviewing people throughout America. If you go back to 2009 archives, greatanswer.libsyn.com is where you find the archives of the Ropecast. You can find interviews such as the last interview that Maria Shadows did. She's definitely one of the pioneers. So it wasn't really a wasteland. It may have been a wasteland compared to what it is now, but that's only because, right now it's kind of a rainforest of things, as compared to, say, a healthy prairie. Okay, yes, it looks like now we have a lot more. But let's also remember that's because of the work that was done back then to establish these ties and things like that. I realize there's a little bit of the, you kids don't know how good you have it now because back in the day, I remember when... And yeah, I know, there's a little bit of that there. And there's people who are rolling their eyes when I say that because they went back even further and can remember when, they were answering ads in the back pages and things like that. So that's fine. Let's just remember that one of the neat things about it is that we are starting to have a history. We are starting to get our community and tell our stories together and things like that. So when we are doing that, I think we are finding another path. We're finding another place to go. So I'm going to invite, this is where that gift card comes in. I happen to have a $40 gift card to Twisted Monk. Now, it's not a whole lot of stuff. Rope. Good rope is expensive, and if you want to get a hold of this, it's probably enough for 1, maybe 2 lengths of rope. But it's really good rope, and with 2 lengths of rope, you can do a lot more than you'd expect. So, if you are interested in entering the drawing, which will be drawn on October 1st, if you are interested in entering the drawing for the $40 Twisted Monk gift card, here's what I want. I want to hear your story. I'm looking for rope historians, okay? I want people who are not me, who are interviewing people, telling their own story, telling the story of their group. Now, here is one particular thing that is a caveat there. It has to be your story, because let's face it, history is not written in stone, okay? People can... It's the whole Rashomon principle. It's a sociological principle that you can have 3 people at the same event, all seeing the same things happen, supposedly, and they all have 3 different views of what happened. Worse, even if it was videotaped, it's been proven that the memories that we create are much more bound by the emotions that we attach to the event than what, quote unquote, actually happened. And this, if there's one thing that you get people to all understand and relate to, that would be the one that I would wish we could get through to people, because that's what we really need more of around here. Around here being the rope community, or frankly, community in general. That being said, when I ask for your history, for your story, whether it's written down and you want me to read it, or if you need it, if you want it read by a different voice than mine, I have access to at least a female voiceover person that could do it. You can also record it and send it to me as a voice recording, and I'll put it on here. But I want to emphasize that you have to take responsibility for the story you are telling. It cannot be anonymous. You have to say, "Hi, I am such and so, and this is my story, and this is my experience." And the reason we do this is because you could have several different experiences from the same group. And I'm not going to say that there is one history that is absolutely accurate. What I'm going to say is there are lots of different experiences. And now, if you're going to use this to, I'm going to screen this. I'm not saying, hey, everybody can put through their story, because if you use this to try and tear somebody down or something like that, or rip into something, I'm not saying you can't be critical. Be critical, but do it in a historically professional way, not in a personally vindictive way. No ad hominem attacks, things like that. So, if you tell your story, we will put it here on the Ropecast. And with Ropecast, I can tell you, it lasts a long time. The archives go back 11 years, hundreds of episodes. It lasts a very, very long time. So let's get your stories out here. And yes, part of this will be, getting in content. But in case you haven't noticed, I don't have any trouble filling up a good half an hour with me just blathering around. So if you want to do that, you can send it to graydancer@gmail.com. And, either, like I said, either something you want me to read, something you want me to play as an audio. It's kind of like, StoryCorps, but for kink. And yes, it doesn't even have to be rope. If your group is not involved with rope, we can also make it bigger. We've accepted the fact that while we're called the Ropecast, we in fact cover all kinds of alternative sexuality and are happy to do so. All right, so I'm going to just close with a couple of things. First of all, if you are listening to this contemporaneously with me releasing it, you know that a lot of people are out at Dark Odyssey, and I'm envious, and I hope you all have a fantastic time out there at camp and do some kinky shit that is really fun. Please say hi to Princess Callie from kinkacademy.com, because she's out there teaching, and she's one of my favorite people in the world. And so, just don't go up and give her a hug unless she lets you. But please say hi to her from me if you happen to see her out there. Also, hey, I would also suggest that you go on to FetLife. Okay, and again, this is me clicking through because I didn't find the link beforehand. But you may have heard that in several different areas, and look at that, FetLife broke down. Of course it did. A lot of different areas. There's been a lot of flooding and things like that. And so there have been, in particular, a favorite person of ours, somebody who's coming to Ropecraft. And of course, I'm talking about BMO and that guy that she hangs out with a lot. Moko, that's his name. Yes, I know, I'm joking. BMO and Moko have had a rough time with the way things have been going because they got a brand new house. They were all set to move into the basement, and guess what? They got flooded out. It turned out that the landlord actually knew that it was that kind of thing, and he just didn't bother to tell them. So, yeah, they how do you put it? Moko is a bit is a bit soggy these days, I think was the way it was put. So what I'm just saying is that they could use some help in restoring some of their stuff. I'm still trying to find the URL, and of course we will come right back, and of course we'll edit out all of this. All right, so when I edit this out afterwards, what I'm going to actually have is just say, hey, Moko could use some help with the flood recovery fund. You can get some pictures of what they're dealing with there. Pretty horrendous wall space is gone. The couches and things like that, and a very scruffy looking Nerf herder kind of Moko standing there. Hey, dude, I'm sorry you went through that. That really, really sucks. and the party space that they had down there and the place where he was going to do his rope and making and stuff like that. Not doing so well. If you go to my FetLife profile, you'll see some pictures of me tying a paternal angel with Moko jute rope. It has been my go-to rope for a while. Yes, Twisted Monk too. But, he has some specific ones made for me. But you can go to gofundme.com/mokojute-flood-recovery-fund and help them out with things that are needed. It's, a lot of stuff. Every little bit helps. And I hope that you guys recover. I know you will. You guys have come back from worse. And the story of the rope community is a story of bad things happening and people coming back stronger and better afterwards. So this is Great Answer. Thank you, twistedmonk.com for your sponsorship. Thank you, leeallure.com for your sponsorship. I really appreciate it. And thank you, all of you patrons who have been really generous and thoughtful and patient. That's the main thing. I appreciate it. You can go to patreon.com/Great Answer. It's definitely a good time to do that because, as I said, I'm kind of in between careers right now, and every little bit helps. And I would love to have more things go out to people and be more involved. So, coming to you from Madison, Wisconsin, this is Great Answer. That's some good rope.